Ladies and gentlemen, namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blub World Web Talk 190th episode. In the last 189 episodes, we have talked to, interacted with more than 3,000 school leaders from all across the world, where we have tried to know from them that how is education evoluting and how is education evoluting them. तो नमस्कार, आप सभी का स्वागत है ब्लब वर्ल्ड वेब टॉक के 190वें एपिसोड में। पिछले 189 एपिसोड्स में हमने करीबन 3,000 से ज्यादा स्कूल लीडर से बातचीत करी और उनसे जानने समझने की कोशिश करी कि शिक्षा कैसे बदल रही है और वो शिक्षा को कैसे बदल रहे हैं। तो आज जो अगला 1 घंटा आप हमारे साथ में है, उसमें हम स्कूल लीडर से जानने की कोशिश करेंगे कि स्कूल लीडरशिप, बीइंग अ प्रिंसिपल, इज इट अ साइंस, इज इट एन आर्ट और इज इट अ ट्रांजैक्शन लाइक अ कॉमर्स? ये है क्या, इसे कैसे स्ट्रक्चर किया जाता है, इसके कौन से सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट्स हैं और इसके कौन से ऐसे एलिमेंट्स हैं जिनको बहुत ज्यादा जबरदस्ती का टूल दिया जा चुका है। We would like to know from these amazing school leaders that what do they think constitutes the art of school leadership? Because when we talk of leadership, the biggest challenge is everybody wants to be a leader, and we as followers never understand what constitutes a leader. Because we haven't talked about it, there's no structure to it, but there's a lot of hue and cry around it. So how does school leadership get defined? How does the science of leadership impact things? And does it really become an art, or it still remains a science with a very logical outcome of things? So let's try to know it from our speakers today, that what do they think is school leadership and what's the art of school leadership? Before we start off, just some ground rules. The Blub World Web Talk is not a speaking marathon. This is a speaking sprint. ये एक बहुत लंबी कुछ किलोमीटरों की रेस नहीं है, ये एक छोटी 100 मीटर की स्प्रिंट है। तो आपका बोलने का समय लिमिटेड है। If your time gets over, you might get muted. If you get muted, please don't get offended. It's just to complete the activity on time and keep it crisp for everyone who's listening. Secondly, you can use any of the 2 languages from English or Hindi, as it's a bilingual platform. If you want, you can use a third one, but I won't get it. So try using either English or Hindi. Thank you so much once again, everyone, for joining in. We have some amazing school leaders today who will be sharing their experience on how to be a school leader and what not to do as a school leader and the art of school leadership. Let me invite the first speaker for today to initiate the roundtable. A very warm welcome to Mr. Ajay Lall, the Principal Advisor for MD and Edify Education Private Limited from Hyderabad, Telangana. Ajay ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Daksh. Very briefly, I'll just talk to you about myself. I've been heading Edify World School, Dehradun, and now I would be moving to the head office, MD and Edify Education, as a principal advisor for schools. Now, when I was approached to talk about art of school leadership, I thought I'll just talk about my experiences since 2007, where I've headed various schools. Now, all of us, I think, when I connect with the ladies who are here, I think all of you are principals of reputed schools. And I think most of you would agree that, first of all, as a true leader, we need to identify ourselves with the vision and mission of the school. I've been working with startup schools too, where actually I worked with the management team to formulate the vision and mission for the school. And this is something which is a broad aim for the entire school. All our programs and every activity that we do revolves around the vision and mission of the school. Secondly, I believe, because I've been a passionate teacher and I'm still a teacher, and as administrator after that. But I have been a very passionate teacher and learner. I picked up a lot of skills over the years, along with the students, along with the teachers, along with the management team. And I think passion is something that brings out vitality, enthusiasm, and vigor in our environment. And this is something which is a key for, I think, all educational leaders. So that passion for the work drives you. And passion for anything, I think that is something which keeps you going. So this is something which is an important ingredient of a school leader. Next thing which I do personally, and that's why I'm sharing it with you, is the detailing. If I do any work, suppose it is a lesson plan, or suppose it is an event to be managed, or anything, if I do the detailing work, then I have thought over the entire process, and therefore there would be minimum of mistakes. And there would of course be a plan A, then plan B, then plan C, and even plan D. So you look at things and you are prepared for the worst. So this is something probably a good leader should be doing. That is detailing and planning ahead. Then I have worked with teachers and students in a very different capacity, the teamwork and collaboration of everyone. Now it's very easy for a leader to say, do this, don't do this. But I would prefer to go about by saying, let us do this. Let us see how it works. So it's not that everything would work perfectly, but teachers, students, they understand that lots of things at the ground level may not work. What you plan on the top of your desk. Okay, I'll go a little faster. I've seen that share. And innovation and implementation is something that we all need to do. We should not be afraid of risk taking. I've done lots of programs which were different than other schools like Quiz India, Online Quiz India. We had Udgam singing competition online. One thing worked, the other didn't. So it's okay, but we tried. And we are now running the 100th episode of Quiz India this coming Sunday for our school.
Thank you, Ajay. So the first 3 minutes are over, but we'll come back to you again in the open session of the open round. So I'll try to summarize what you said, and I think you gave a start to the complete talk. I think where you initiated was that the kind of experience that everyone has, that would be the typical pedigree for being the school leader, because you need to come from a very deep, teaching experience that you have to go through. Only then a school leader could be the right kind of a school leader. Second, the individual who's leading the institution must have absolute consonance with the vision and mission of the institution. Because the challenge is, if you get into an institution and you do not understand the ethos or the soul of it, you might not be able to take it in the right direction. Passion drives school leadership. Detailing holds the highest criticality. Whenever you're doing something, get so deep into it that you know every single step, what may happen and what may not happen. Always have many, many plans. And finally, not being afraid to take the first mover step. I think this last concluding point is something that I would rather say most of the school leaders and most of the schools don't do. They play in a very conservative space. They don't, open up to a lot of things. And I think now this has to break after COVID, because already a lot of things have broken. So let's now try to break this in school leadership. Thank you so much, sir. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Ms. Pooja Bose, the principal of Pacific World School from Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh. Pooja, ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself, and a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Daksh, and good evening to all the fellow panelists. So I'm here to present my views about leadership. And according to me, the leadership itself has undergone tremendous transformations in the past 2 or 3 years. There were times when leadership itself meant being absolute, and that was totally acceptable. But as we all know, that was way in the medieval era. And now leadership is more of participative leadership and transformational leadership. So we do understand that leadership as a science, as an art itself, has undergone many changes in its very definition. So the fundamental changes in leadership are done so that it walks with the changing times. It is effective with the changing times, and as leaders continue to transform themselves, then only they can claim to be dynamic leaders, right? So according to me, the first and foremost attribute a leader should possess is his or her ability to empower a diverse team. When the team which in a school setting we take up, we do understand that there are numerous teachers, numerous non-teaching staff, and we have to kind of lead them with example. And we also have to understand their strengths and weaknesses. The total culture in a school has to be inclusive. And here, since we are talking about school leadership, I am taking school as an example to support my views. So when we are leading a team which is diverse, we have to obviously address their strengths and in a very subtle and empathetic manner also address their weaknesses. The entire school environment or the organization which the leader is leading should enthuse supportive energy. If that is missing, then I feel that the teachers or even the other staff members will not feel a sense of trust in the leader. So to generate that trust, you have to kind of give the message that yes, you are going to support them in good times as well as in bad times. Being a positive leader is extremely important. In that aspect, you have to make the environment affirmative. And it is a priority that the environment, smells of positivity, generates positivity amongst the staff members. And nonetheless, there are times when there are challenges. There are times when things are not working well. It happens in any organization. But during those moments, it is even more important for the leader to continue to, give an idea or give a sense that I trust you.
So I'll try to summarize what you said. So leadership actually has transformed from being somebody with absolute power to being somebody who's ready to be inclusive and involves a lot of participation. Individual transformation is essential to being a good leader, because as individuals we need to understand that when we talk of schools, it is an HR intensive institution. So if you don't know how to deal with people, make them happy, and most importantly how to create an affirmative environment, you lose the battle then and there. So you need to understand how will you lead by example, and most importantly, how would you address concerns in an organic manner or in a subtle manner. You can't be inorganic with challenges, because if you're organic, you'll make everyone afraid and the environment goes down the drain. So this is something that has to be worked on as leaders, being more participative, and most importantly, how to be super subtle in all the crises. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today. Dr. Roopa Shenoy, the principal of Shri Chaitanya Techno School from Manglore, Karnataka. Roopa ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself, and a very warm welcome.
Thank you, Daksh, and all of you, the school leaders of different schools, different parts of country. It's a fantastic topic. When I heard about this yesterday, the art of school leadership, I think first we have to accept as school leaders that we are artists. That's what I can tell, because school is a community where we are sending the children to the society. It means that we are the ones who are creating the future leaders. That's what I say. And I strongly believe where we are the one who are not only dealing with the teachers, but we are dealing with a range of people who are of various segments of the society. So we sometimes these leadership, when we tell, and in that particular venture, when we are going ahead, managing the school activities, first thing what we have to do is, yes, of course, clear vision, mission, we have to know about it. And the culture, what we want to bring it in the school, that's very important that we understand that and inculcate that particular culture in each and every member of the school. Not only students, the teachers where they are the one who create all the professions. That means what we are adopting ourselves, that means the adaptability. That's very, very important, has to be inculcated to each and every person, the teachers, the students, and the people who are support staff members. Very, very important, where we have to go as per their situations, as per their view, which is very, very important for a school leader to inculcate these, skills where they have to gather the experience. We are, though we are leaders, we are learners. because we are the one who will bring the transformation in the school. When we are bringing this transformation, though we have vision, mission, and we will put as per the situations, circumstances, we gather this experience from the other people of the members of the school, which is very very important. And very important thing what we should have is the teamwork. When we have a strong vision and mission, we adapt to the particular team. We have to have that. That is the art which we have to have is teamwork. When we are working with various people, they say that when we are working with a teacher, we have to understand from their standpoint of view what exactly is the requirement in that particular point, and the decisions have to be taken as per that. That means a good decision making is a must for a school leader. No, all the kind of qualities a school leader should have. Thank you, Daksh, for the opportunity.
Thanks. What you said, school principals as artists. So can a student visualize that? If your student can visualize that, then you're truly an artist, because I think that's the kind of certification a school leader should be looking at. That do your children consider you artists, or what do they consider you? So this is something that you need to continuously evaluate, because that's the final endpoint consumer of your intelligence, your intellect, your way of working, your execution style. And most important, I think a very important point, that school is the community's kindergarten. So you are typically building the society every single day when you tell them to do something and when you tell them to not do something. Inculcating skills that brings people together. This is a very essential point that now needs to come into school leadership, that you cannot be divisive in any way among students. Because a lot of times when you try to control the chaos that's there within a school, there's a lot of division that has to take place. Only then things, come into control. But how do you still enforce the community feeling and bringing everyone together is the critical task that a school leader might have to do. And finally, you talked about empathy in leadership. I think empathy now everyone knows globally in all forms of leadership is the most critical element. If you're not able to understand that what will the individual who's going to follow you experience, I think you won't be making the right kind of leadership decisions. So thank you so much, ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Manju Gupta, the Education Consultant and Chief Program Officer for Adhyayan Quality Education Foundation, Delhi. Manju, ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes, and a very warm welcome.
Namaskar. Namaskar, everyone. And I start by saying that I've been the school leader for last 30 years, just graduated out. Okay. And I understand that the leadership has been a beautiful part of my journey as an educationist. And I'm passing it on to the next generation. And I'm working with Adhyayan, where we develop school leaders of government schools. So bringing about the empowering government schools principle with and we're doing it in northeastern states. And I have seen a tremendous change happening if you counsel them properly. So leadership is all about, for me, is liberating people. Liberating people inside the school and outside the school. Let them do jobs the way they want to do. As teachers, as administrators, let them do their jobs as they want to do, but be accountable. We stand by their side. Second is remove obstacles from their way so that they can perform to their highest potential. If you don't do that and you do micromanagement, things don't get done the way they should be done to the optimum level. The third is give opportunities, put challenges in front of people, give them challenges so that in accomplishing their targets, in meeting those challenges, what they do is you can't even believe. I have made the simple teachers as writers of books, content, designing, and doing some wonderful things. Even the concerts were their way, students' way, teachers' way, and I was a silent observer. Wherever the need be, I would give my advice, but they did it. Fourth is abandon yourself. And that's what I did all through. I abandoned myself in terms of that they took the decisions. I stood by them in their rise and fall both. And the result was miracles happened. In my schools, the schools were rated where I headed #1 in the country. So, and internationally also acclaimed. So the leadership is all about be there, but don't overpower things. And before Daksh raises the hand, so I would say, but another thing is bind people. Let them stand for each other. So that's very important, and bind people, not only teachers, but the parents, but the students. And believe you me, and the end product is just brilliant. And you generate a community of people. Now continue the momentum. Whatever you do, the school must progress. Every moment, I'm a teacher of physics, so a school must progress all through the time. So the momentum of progress and growth must be maintained. And of course, people take it forward. Appreciate all. Appreciate all for the little things they do. Be 1 minute leader. See the people doing good, back them. But if they do wrong or are not according to the right way, well, don't shout at them. Come back and explain it to them, guide them. So be a guide, be a mentor, be a coach.
Let me try to summarize what you said. Most importantly, empowering the school leadership in government schools. This is something that you're doing right now. Because when we talk of government schools, the leadership there changes a lot. Because the expectation from somebody within a private school is very different from expectation from somebody who's leading a government school. The ecosystem changes, the people change, the community changes, the kind of support that comes changes, and the kind of accountability changes dramatically. And for accountability for things that people can never imagine changes even, to an extent we cannot imagine. Second, you talked about leadership is about liberating people, removing obstacles, giving power to decide. I think it's a very important principle in management, which in most of the schools is not being followed, is delegate. Let people decide, don't micromanage. We micromanage a lot. And I think this is something that makes the atmosphere negative and discourages people in going into the right direction. Finally, building the community spirit. Getting them all together, whether it's the teachers, whether it's the parents, whether it's the students. You are a school leader is typically a community builder. So that's your basic role. That's the core essence of school leadership. That are you able to design a society that will stay together? Will they be empathetic towards each other? Will they understand each other? And finally, could you create a glue that keeps them all together? So thank you so much, ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today. Mrs. Vamsheepriya Amar, the principal of MVJ International School from Banglore, Karnataka. Ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes and a very warm welcome.
Thank you, Daksh, and good evening to all my fellow panelists. According to me, I've been hearing patiently to others, and I think some of the points which I also really vibe has been touched upon by other fellow panelists. But according to me, a leader is something wherein she would like to showcase herself and expect each and everyone around her to be also a leader. In simple words, I would say that she needs to role model. And people were talking about empowering, motivating, and probably see the leader in their own teachers or the society inside the school and outside. So when I think about all of this, I think the 21st century skills really matters. The way you communicate, the way you are collaborating with them, and the way you are critically thinking about what your fellow beings inside the school are thinking, that could be your stakeholders. When I say stakeholders, again, it is from the parents, teachers, and students. Sometimes it can be something as simple as an indirect effect. So there could be a resource person, resource child in your school who can also probably deliver something what he's thinking and make the leader think from his perspective. So being persuasive is important. No doubt it's to be taken into consideration. But equally, I feel listening to your fellow beings is very important. And secondly, you need to be very clear and vivid to communicate the vision to the others, setting aside your personal vision, your professional vision, and aligning it with the institutional vision. So you need to have that kind of integrity as well as ethics, something which is internal and external to be woven properly to weave that beautiful fabric of leadership. That's what I feel is very important in an institution. Also, your interpersonal skills matters a lot. That is the reason I did say collaborative skills as well as communicative skills. Sometimes you don't intend to tell, but without your knowledge, involuntarily, people start misunderstanding. That means to say you are a complex personality. Instead of being a complex person, you can become as simple as possible and be a person in and around thinking, placing right and wrong in a proper, balanced manner within the community of the school and outside the school as well. So first of all, motivate your people, then empower your people, communicate properly, be succinct, clear, concise, no superfluous language will help you. You mean ultimately it's business. And the most important thing that we need to keep in mind is the feedback. As sir was mentioning, Ajay sir, who is my fellow panelist, was mentioning, it is better to take a feedback as well. And he said for everything he witnesses, he vets through the entire event procedure or whatever. So to take the feedback is important. Any event, I need to take a positive feedback as well as a scope of improvement feedback as well. I don't call it negative feedback, but feedback mechanism thoroughly engages two-way mechanism in a school. That is what is from my perspective. Thank you, Daksh.
Trying to summarize what you said, where you build more and more leaders around you within your complete ecosystem. Being persuasive is critical, listening to your team, and most importantly, subordination of individual interests to community or team or organizational interests. Super clarity of thought and communication, and most importantly, a feedback mechanism that you trust. The biggest challenge with feedbacks across the world is people do take them, but they don't trust them. So let's not get into that trap. If you have a feedback mechanism, you yourself must be trusting it like anything. Only then the feedback mechanism works. So thank you so much, ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Dr. Suchita Gupta, the principal of Mount Litera Z School from Satna, Madhya Pradesh. Suchita, ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes and a very warm welcome.
Thanks, Daksh, for inviting me in such a wonderful panel over here. And listening to all the panelists, it was really amazing. And if I talk about you must be knowing that I am basically from Punjab. And I have now joined Satna, Mount Litera Z School, Satna in MP as principal. So it is one of the most important aspects that how I have come from such a far place over here. That is an example of my leadership quality only, that I always want to empower the people. So according to talking about, because we have very less time, I don't want to talk more about me. Leadership, basically, what is it? It is the process of a social influence, which one person can enlist and aid and support to the others to accomplish some work. What is leadership? It is. If we correlate leadership with the education, now we say, as all my fellow panelists, they have already given what I also wanted to speak. But still, I will add on something that being a leader in education means in the school, to be a principal, we all require to take every person, right from the peon to the student, teacher, parent, all are included in this. Because I always think that peons also need to be motivated, and they also need to be trained and guided in such a way that on behalf of them, when they are one part who always plays a vital role to reflect the reputation of the school. So when I joined over here just 2 months back, I found many challenges over here because the teachers, they were not accepting me. They were not ready to accept because of some of the reasons. So today also I had a meeting with my teachers. I conducted a workshop for the teachers where I just guided them that let us be together. We are a family. A leader is that who takes whole like family as all the people as a family. If we work as a family, obviously the school will grow, because no management alone can grow the school. No management can run the school. No principal alone can run the school. We need to hold the hands of our teachers. We need to hold the hands of our students. And whatever is in their mind, let that thing come out. We need to accept that also. It is not that forcefully we are telling to the teachers, do this thing, do this thing. So I have assigned them so many of duties. I said, you do bring out some ideas, good ideas, so that we can grow the school. So this is, in my point of view, what education leadership is, where we can, one of our panelists, she said that we should be the silent observer. And I also do in the same way, that we are the silent observers, but always keep an eye on that what the work is being done. So when the work is being done, I think due to my this quality only, I have been called from Punjab to MP. So I have joined over here, and I am hoping that this school will really, I will make it grow like anything. So in my point of view, once again, I will say that leadership in education is not that we are forcing something on others. No doubt we have, we are principals because we have experience, but we can guide others. One of my teacher, just working fresher, just working 4 years with me, now she is also a principal. That is, I think, the best thing which I have done in my life.
Thank you so much, Suchita ma'am. The first 3 minutes are over. And I think a very important point that you touched upon is caring for everyone in the team, from the lowest levels to the highest, is very important. We cannot, create isolated zones or cubicles in the complete team that you have, because this is something that most of the leaders face when they get into a new institution. When you get into a new institution, or you're airdropped into a new institution as a leader, the biggest challenge is to break those cubicles and make it into a single team that's ready to work together, because there's a lot of resistance that comes from these small little groups that have already been there. So how do you penetrate through them? How do you bring them together is something that's very critical to school leadership. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Sunitha Srivastava, the principal of Global City International School from Banglore, Karnataka. Sunitha ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes, and a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daksh, and it's a pleasure to talk on the same platform again and again. It's really wonderful to be here. And at the same time, on the topic, I'm sure all the leaders have already spoken a lot. And I'm here to tell few pointers here. As far as my view is concerned, leadership is all about creating next line of leaders. If we empower them and make them to realize what they're good at and help them to move forward and give them the confidence that they can be the next line of leaders, that is one of the important points I feel. And coming to the next thing is, as one of the speakers said, we should be silent observers. Yes, we need to be silent observers. At the same time, the feedback mechanism should be very transparent. When we are transparent, then only the real understanding of their own capabilities will enhance. And that is what I prefer to do in my leadership. And to tell, recently I have taken over Global City of International School in Bengaluru. And as Madam said, Suchita Gupta ma'am said, it's very challenging. At the same time, it's very motivating to see that I'm in a position to bring that change in the teachers. Where the low confidence is there, that has to be changed into higher motivational level. That is my focus. At the same time, uh, after the pandemic, teachers also have a different kind of way of thinking, and that has to be changed because 2 years, the kind of uh, classes they took, it was different. And again, they're coming back to the offline classes. Again, putting themselves in this particular condition is again very challenging. And handling the children who were there just in home or in their own secure place, and now coming to school to and some of the students, they have not even seen the school. And that is the biggest challenge the teachers are facing. And leadership is all about to help them to understand this is also to be overcome, and definitely they have all the potential to overcome. And little bit of guidance from the leaders will definitely help them to come over this challenge too. And at present, I'm having that challenge, and I'm very happy that there is a transformation. And recently we had even on Saturday, last Saturday, we had one project for grade 1 to 5, where we introduced back to school project, and under that social etiquette training was given to grade 1 to 5 children, so that whatever the connect was lost, that is brought back. And kindergarten teachers played very pivotal role in this, because they were the ones who were connected well, and they took up this project enthusiastically, and they also got the confidence that they can do wonders. Earlier they had this doubt whether they will be able to do. So that is all about leadership. It is just to bringing that confidence in them that even they can do a much better job than what they think they are.
Giving your team the realization that they have much more than they actually realize for themselves. And I think a very important point that you made was that the mindset of the teachers or the team across organizations has dramatically changed post the pandemic. Netherlands just now made work from home mental right. So if an organization has the option of work from home, and if an employee asks that they want work from home, the institution or the organization cannot deny that. And this is something that you find a lot more takers across the globe, a lot more policy makers will be attracted to this, because across the globe, the workforce is getting more and more critical as the voting population. So as institution leaders, we'll have to figure out more and innovative and better ways where we are able to balance the rights, the emotions, everything with the individuals that we have. So it was the first round where we listened to all of you. Now, before we go into the open floor, a very simple question for all of you that you can answer in the open floor if you seem to want to answer this. Do we balance emotions and the utility of our team, or do we always make emotions and utility fight with each other? As a leader, what do you consider more critical, the emotion behind the team or the utility of the team? Or how do you place these two things as a leader for your team? Anyone from you can answer. It's an open floor now.
It has to be balanced. It is not a question you have. It always has to be balanced. The emotion of the team and the utility of the team. Unless they are balanced, the schools will not progress. They cannot be counterbalancing each other or overpowering either one. And the result is, if the emotions of the team is managed, utility will definitely go way above the normals. Because what you've done is, if you've kept your teachers happy, if you've kept your students happy, if you've kept your parents happy, the schools will progress like, on an exponential note. So, well, I'm all for balance.
Balance and emotion being on the front seat. But the challenge is, I think ma'am wants to say something. Over to Pooja.
I assume that you have already thought that emotions are something which kind of act as deterrent to performance. On the contrary, emotions are actually great enhancers of performance. And I'd like to, coin a term called emotional leadership. So we tend to visualize a leader as somebody who is, very stoic and somebody who doesn't display too many emotions. But I'd like to believe that a leader is as much a human as any other human in the organization he or she is leading. and so naturally not devoid of emotions. So I always display my own emotions, good or bad, sad or happy. And I also expect others to also express those emotions. When we talk of being organic, I think this also encompasses being organic. You know, you cannot be somebody who is on a pedestal, somebody who has, you know, some superhuman qualities. That's not true. You have to display humane qualities, and you also should be an emotional leader and also channelize emotions in a manner that it ultimately leads to good results. So I think emotions should act as a resource in an organization.
So emotion as a utility for handling emotions of the team.
I would like to add this thing because as I told you that I have joined a new school now, and this emotion and utility, how I face this thing, that one of the teacher who was joined from the starting of the school, but I couldn't analyze her. So I made one of the teacher from the pre-primary as the mother teacher of first class. And that teacher, her emotions were like that, she gave a resignation that I don't want to continue with the school because of my some problems. Then I sat with her, I asked her, what is the reason? I am like your mother, you tell me this thing, how we can work, like what is your problem? So then I came to know from some other teacher that this is the problem basically. She said she has been promoted because she has been given first class. So I handled that in such a way because I wanted that, I don't want to lose that teacher because she has been appointed by the management in the starting itself. So I have given her the designation of coordinator for the pre-primary to first class. So with this, now she is happy also, she is working also. That is, I think, that is the emotions we need to understand. No doubt we are also human beings, but we being leaders in education leadership, we need to understand the emotion of other person. And if we can, if it would have been something else, I would have explained her in other way, but that I could sort it out in that way. And now she's also happy and she is working very nicely now. So this is one example I wanted to share.
I'd like to just briefly add that emotions are directly connected with your passion for work. And if emotions are expressed in public, they may probably go wrong at times. So if your anger flares up in public, anger is something which may lead you to say or do something which is not required. However, if you have that kind of passion and the emotional attachment towards your students and towards your work, it works wonders, because then you are connected, you enjoy your work and you do it well. And therefore, I believe personally that emotional quotient should be given much more prominence than the intelligence quotient.
Emotion taking the front seat, from balance to emotion as a utility to emotion again coming back on the front seat. Typically do education institutions need emotion as a tool to run? Or I would again go back to the question that is there a constant fight between the two? If anybody wants to add something, you can. We only have the final 1 minute to this. That is emotion a tool to manage it, or is emotion and utility being balanced?
One single sentence, Daksh. Emotion is an enabler as well as empowering. Both. It's a catalyst. It can empower, it can enable in whichever. We cannot be judgmental about it.
As a media guy, I always have to be judgmental. Only then I can ask people the right kind of questions. Because if you're not judgmental, people don't give the right answers. But I think we all got a little, or rather good peep into how does emotion really work in HR intensive institutions. So we all need to understand that when it's leadership, all the skills that we talked about, all the qualities that we talked about in a leader, they finally boil down to this, that how well do they manage people? Because people only buy from people, whether they buy happiness, whether they buy satisfaction, whether they buy conviction, or whether they buy belief. So as people, we always are fighting to establish the importance of emotion above utility for the challenges. Emotion in itself might be a utility. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of the Blub Web Talks 190th episode. If you enjoyed this session and if you want to attend the future sessions, you can open your audio, say a big yes, and thank you so much for being here with us. Have an amazing evening ahead. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Daksh, for inviting, and it was wonderful talk, though I could not be present for the first session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much,
I have
everyone.
learned a lot from each one of you. I think the contribution that you have from your perspective, how you see leadership, I think it was wonderful. Thank you once again, everyone. And Daksh, thank you especially for inviting me.
Thank you, Daksh. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Namaskar. Namaskar. Have a great
part of
leadership ahead, all of you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
all.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,